it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers. You know, I've been talking this whole time and haven't had any audio. Would you imagine that? Welcome to FRL. You would think I'd figure this out by now. Oh boy. Anyways, welcome to race 7 here in Split 1. We're halfway through the season. And it's been a very eventful season so far. Mercedes pretty much have Split 1 here in the bag, but Split 2 have Split 1 in the bag, but second place is still all to play for at the moment, with only 12 points separating P2 through 5 in the Constructors' Championship. So it's going to be very interesting to watch long-term where these drivers end up. SenTeX, first driver out on track. Of course, the other Split 2 commentator along with me is SenTeX. And one of the things SenTeX said he figured out was to stay off the curbs and watch your tire strategy. It looks like at the moment it's really cool. Cloudy, overcast here in qualifying, and that should create a fun time here. Drivers' Championship, Żelazny and Tazo have a dominating lead at the moment over anyone else. 51 points the gap between Żelazny and his teammate Noda, 20 points behind Tazo at the moment. So Mercedes don't necessarily have it in the bag at the moment, but with the way they've been performing, I'll be really shocked. Jack in P4 at the moment trying to compete with Noda, so Jack and Noda still really close there. 20 point or tied in points between Noda and Jack, and then 20 points to Tazo from there. So that's going to be a really tight battle to watch. Looking here at the race currently, if you're new to FRL, it's an 18-minute qualifying session, 50% race. So here in Japan, that means 27 laps of action here in Suzuka. A really, really unique track because it crosses over itself there in the start of the second sector, the start of the third. The track crosses over. So it's like a figure eight, but it's not a figure eight, which makes it really, really fun. SenTeX did an outlap, and now he's going to pit again. Interesting choice from him there. I don't know what the reason was for that, but we'll see what he does. As it's starting, it's really cool there and cloudy. I wonder if rain is going to play any sort of issue here with weather, as Gamer 2021 is going to be the first driver to start a lap. And the first sector is where we saw a lot of drivers losing it there, hitting the curbs. You can see Gamer staying very wide, very slow to the curbs at the moment. As it comes around here, first sector looking really good so far. 33.3, a little bit slower in the first sector than what we've seen other drivers do, but shouldn't be a problem as FISHU and JohnMeister are on laps back behind him. So we'll keep our eyes there to see what they bring around. As he comes to the middle sector, you can see a little bit loose as he comes around the left-hander, but still looking really good. Coming around the double left-hander here. Gamer looking really solid. I believe the pole position time we saw was around a 129. A 129.1, I believe, was pole position in split 2. So I would anticipate we see a little bit faster. A 114, the time from Gamer there in the middle sector. As he comes around, he is going to be a little bit off of that 129, but how far off is he going to be? As he comes around the final corner, and he is going to put in a 131.2, which is going to start off our times here in our qualifying session. FISHU pitting in as he's invalidated his time, but let's watch Ignas with a 129.9 setting the first time in, and then behind him, what is going to be set behind him? Not exactly sure who's the next drivers on laps, honestly. BartheZ putting in a 129.9 himself. Jack putting in a 131, Mattey a 132, JohnMeister 129.6, Tazo 129.4, and then Żelazny with a 128.7. Great time coming in there from the Mercedes driver, the current constructor or drivers champion. Current leader of the drivers championship. I shouldn't mistalk like that. As we see Fryderyk and MBuciek coming around here. Fryderyk middle sector, MBuciek coming around here. Third sector, what time is he going to put in? He comes around and he throws in a 141.7. So as we look at drivers coming around, so far early in this qualifying session, it looks like drivers so far are putting in some really, really good looking times. SenTeX out on a flying lap at the moment. First sector behind Fryderyk at the moment. We'll see if SenTeX takes any of his lessons here from Split 2 and incorporates them here into Split 1. As he comes around here, purple in the first sector. Really, really strong time from SenTeX. Coming around here to the left-hander, still behind Fryderyk. I wonder if Fryderyk will get out of his way or if he's still going to contend with traffic this whole time. We'll see what sector time he puts in here through the middle. Looking really strong so far. You can see a little bit of curb riding right on the edge of the track, but doing really, really well to hold on to it at the moment. Coming around, double corner again. Fryderyk finally getting out of his way here, and he's going to come across, and he is going to go not purple in the middle sector, a 113 coming through the middle sector, so still a really strong time from SenTeX. As he comes around, final couple of corners, and what is going to be the time that SenTeX puts in. It looks like he lost a lot of time in the middle sector, so as he comes around, he is going to set in a 129.8, jumps himself into P4. But SenTeX doing really good in the first sector, though. Really impressive coming out from the driver there. DEBE on an out lap, preparing to set his first lap out here on track. Looks like at the moment FISHU is on a hot lap as well, but he has a Mercedes behind him, so FISHU coming around here first sector, trying to hold on to it, going a little bit slower through this first sector, but first sector is extremely challenging, so just holding on as best he can. Purple in the first sector, 33.0. FISHU a fast driver, so we'll see what he does here through the rest of the track. 9 minutes and 45 seconds left to go here in this qualifying session. He's going to have a little bit of traffic in front of him with Bax and Ignas to deal with, but should not be an issue as he goes through. The drivers should move out of the way, or there's enough of a gap that he doesn't have to worry about it. As he comes through the double left-hander here in the middle sector, he is going to come around. Still looking really good here from FISHU. Going down the straightaway here, he is closing that gap a little bit on the AlphaTauri in front, but again, still not close enough to worry about anything. As he comes through third sector, the final chicane, what time is FISHU going to put in here as he comes across? It looks like FISHU is going to set a 130.0, good enough for P7 at the moment. DEBE jumping on board with him as he comes here and starts the third sector, a 114.1, a little bit down there through the middle sector from the pole position time, but not a bad time still as DEBE comes around here. Third sector, flinging his car through. What time is DEBE going to set in as he hits the chicane and he comes around straight away? DEBE is going to put in a 131.1, good enough for P12. We're seeing the same thing we saw in Split 2 with a lot of those time gaps between drivers, showing interesting splits. Żelazny with no wing at the moment, so he's done something and wrecked out. BartheZ there in P5 looking to improve. Noda up into P2 with a 129.42, so just barely off of Tazo's time. Tazo, of course, on the medium compound tires, though, in P3. Jack in P9 on mediums. Everybody else opting for softs. Like we talked about during the Split 2 race there with SenTeX, it doesn't really matter too much with pit strategy. We saw MBuciek in P3 who ran 25 laps on hards out of a 27 lap race because he had to pit in and get off of his tires early after some damage. So you can make a lot of different strategies work here around Japan as long as you conserve your tires and a little bit of luck is on your side. BartheZ going around here, a 129.7 up in P5 at the moment. So lots of drivers still out on flying laps. Mattey just now starting his flying lap. And you can see flying lap means flying lap as he comes through first sector. So we go into the left, right section here. A little bit wide through that corner. But is it going to pay off for him as he comes around here? You can see he's modulating the throttle. A little bit of half throttle going through. Still looking really good, though, at the moment from Mattey. And we'll see first sector time a little bit down. You can see a little dirty coming through. I don't know if that is just due to the track or what it is, but maybe costing Mattey a bit of time there in the first sector. As he comes around middle sector, we'll jump back with him in a moment. Fryderyk not able to put a lap together. It looks like he keeps invalidating. Pefixian in the pits at the moment. Lots of drivers running around on different strategies at the moment. Mattey, we'll see what he does. He's up 3/10 in the middle sector, though, looking really good there. So as he comes around the final sector, will he be able to improve any to jump himself up from P10 into a higher position? Mattey coming around final sector here. And Mattey is going to improve almost 5/10 up into P6 at the moment. So great time from Mattey there to move himself up. We'll jump on board here with MBuciek, who's coming through middle sector, and he is up 9 seconds almost from his previous time. So by that pace, he should be pacing for a very, very strong lap. Purple in the middle sector as well. So as he comes around the final couple of corners, it will be interesting to see where he can bring himself at. JohnMeister DNFing out of the session after a wreck in the first sector. MBuciek coming around, and what time is he going to put in? He throws himself up into P11 with a 1:30.0, 11 seconds up from that 1:41, which I would guess he had a spin on, but still gaining lots of time there, so a good time from him. JohnMeister with a 1:29.3 might be in a good spot at the moment. However, he is probably going to drop down the order as drivers set their final times. Looking around here at other drivers out and about, Żelazny is on an outlap here. SenTeX is on an outlap, and it looks like so is Gamer and DEBE. All other drivers have done flying laps already. Just a few minutes left here in qualifying. So at the moment, Żelazny with some scary pace. 4 minutes, 45 seconds left. Scary pace coming in from the championship standing leader. He comes around third sector to start his flying lap. Jack on 3-lap old mediums. Finally going into the pits. Interesting decision from him there to try to set a few laps on mediums. He's up into P7, but still, mediums are an interesting strategy to start the race. Żelazny 4 minutes left, starting what will probably be his final flying lap as he comes around here. The first sector looking really, really good as he comes through. My favorite camera angle in this entire track is that turn one hard right-hander as the drivers come through and it lays flat. Looks really, really good. Looks like something happening with BartheZ's connection as BartheZ leaves out of the session here. Żelazny coming through, 3.5 minutes left. Żelazny coming around middle sector, down this back straightaway. Is he going to improve any, if there's room for him to even improve? He's up 1/10 of a second through the middle sector. Not purple in the middle, but still looking really good. So as he comes around third sector, will he be setting a faster time? He seems like he's ahead at the moment. He's coming around here. What is going to be this final time he sets in? As he comes across the straight, he is going to put in a 1:28.5, so he does improve by nearly 2/10 over. He is a second up on Noda in P3. That is scary pace at the moment. Can that convert to the race? I have no way to be sure, but I can tell you that it's some scary times as Noda's coming around here, first sector, setting in a time. Jack is on his final outlap on softs. Lots of drivers on their final laps at the moment. Just a couple of minutes left. So this is going to be all she wrote for your qualifying session here in split one of round 7, halfway point of the season, and this is going to be the make or break for a lot of these drivers. As we watch Noda here on a hot lap, lots of traffic in front of him to contend with, and traffic's getting out of the way for him, thankfully, so Noda can try to push through in that Williams and set a strong time. As Noda comes through middle sector, the Alpine on the inside of him gets out of the way. Believe that is Jack staying out of his way, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. Noda coming around third sector. What is going to be the time he sets in? And Noda is going to come across. Noda is going to set a 129.0, jumps himself up into second place. Ignas with a 129.2 up into P3. Jack just now starting his flying lap. Typowy out on a flying lap. Pefixian out on a flying lap. We'll jump on board here with Jack as Jack runs through the first sector. Of course, he is going to have Noda in front of him who just finished his flying lap. So is Noda going to get out of the way, or is the dirty air going to affect him? And he through the first sector. You can see lots of throttle control, lots of decisions coming here from Jack. You can see great modulation of the throttle, great gearing decision here. And you can see Noda gets well out of the way there for Jack. Jack 2/10 up in the first sector, 2.5 tenths. As Jack comes around here into the middle sector. DEBE DNFing from the session, it appears. As the checkered flag is dropping on qualifying here, Jack out on a flying lap. SenTeX not able to put in another lap. Tazo and Gamer locked in on the laps they have at the moment. Jack not able to improve either, so he is calling it at the moment, and that is going to be Jack locked into P8 unless other drivers improve. Noda, of course, setting his flying lap. Ignis setting his flying lap. So Mattey, no front wing at the moment with a push lap there. FISHU in P10 looks like he is on a push lap here in the middle sector. MBuciek and Fryderyk about to cross the line. Are they going to be able to improve any? As Fryderyk comes around final corner with his teammate, or MBuciek comes in around the final corner with his teammate right in front of him. Fryderyk jumps into P8. What does MBuciek do here? MBuciek is going to stay P13. He does not improve, which means the only couple of drivers we're waiting on a lap from is going to be FISHU. FISHU coming around the final corner here, and what time will FISHU be able to set in? FISHU comes around and he is going to put in a 129.7, jumps himself up into PA. A good improvement, but will it be good enough? As we are now waiting on the stricken Mattey to come around with no front wing in order to complete this qualifying session. So it looks like at the moment this is going to be all she wrote for your qualifying session, because there's nothing left to do here. I see drivers still out on the track though, so it looks like this may just be a glitch here. Again, F1 2021, best game ever. So looking here, Żelazny with nearly a half-second gap on Noda. Ignas Only 2/10 there off of noted. JohnMeister, Tazo, Bax, typowy, FISHU, Fryderyk, Mattey, Jack, SenTeX, BuciK, and DEBE. So very, very close battles going around. I have no idea what tire JohnMeister was on. I believe it was the softs, but even the game doesn't know at the moment. So very, very close battles coming from all these drivers. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have you on the formation lap here for Split 1. So let's jump on board here with the formation lap at the moment, and let's look at what drivers are going to be doing what here in terms of strategy. Looks like Tazo opting for mediums, Jack, SenTeX, BuciK, Gamer, BartheZ, and Mattey all opting for mediums. Rest of the drivers are going to be on softs. We saw with strategies there was a lot of split decisions in Split 2, so it's going to be really, really fun to watch here and see what driver has the best call. We saw some 2-stop strategies that worked. We saw 1-stops that worked. We saw you could run the hards for 25 laps if you played it right. So, I mean, I really don't know what's going to be happening here, but it's going to be fun to watch regardless as we go long-term into this race. And I believe that was Ignas? Somebody already spun on the formation lap, and I don't know who it was, but that was kind of hilarious. You can see a lot of connection issues happening right now at the moment. So we're doing a restart of the lobby. So this means we're going to jump over, and I'm going to let you enjoy some music for a minute as we get everything going. I don't know if you all should be able to see this face. This is the face of a guy that's really tired of technical issues in F1 2021. Back to the music. All right, I think we're back to it at the moment. So, looks like everything's loading back up. And hopefully, no issues this time. I'll keep my eyes out to see exactly what is happening. Something gives me a feeling that this gives me Netherlands vibes from last season. If you weren't around last season, literally there was such severe connection issues and random disconnects and crazy things that they didn't even run a race last season. That was the race before I started, actually, here with FRL. So as we're loading in, it looks like things might be okay at the moment. We'll see how things go and if things are continuing to break, which, I mean, let's be honest, I don't have a good answer for you at the moment. I guess we'll see what happens here as things are loading up, which means we are going to be formation lap here. And you can see Żelazny wasting absolutely no time to get going here. Let's get everything pulled back up so that way we can see exactly what we need on everything. So, same tires that everyone qualified on. Jack, SenTeX, MBuciek, DEBE, Gamer, BartheZ, Mattey, all opting for the mediums. Ignas and Tazo opting for on mediums as well because that's what they qualified on. Everyone else in the top 10 on softs, and Pefixian opting for softs to start out. So this should be a fun race to watch here as we go through. It should really, really work out. Again, we saw from the split 2 race that pure chaos can happen at any time. Pit stop strategy, we're saying soft to hards or medium to hards. But we did also see some soft mediums or soft medium softs there in split 2, so we know that can work and give you a little bit more freedom to push through. So that may be a strategy to watch out for as well. As we go around here, Żelazny, of course, not waiting for anyone through the middle sector. I'm really excited to see Ignas, Bax, Tazo, and JohnMeister, though. Midfield, or yeah, front midfield looking really good. Jack and SenTeX and Mattey, MBuciek, DEBE, all proven drivers themselves, so they're going to be fun ones to watch as well. As we come through third sector here, grid's starting to form up. You can see Bax is backed up a lot of the grid there in the middle, or they've just gone a little bit slower to warm their tires. So Żelazny formed up on the grid. JohnMeister, Tazo will jump back here in the back as FISHU's coming around. Final driver to come around is going to be Mattey. 18 drivers here this weekend in Split 1. AWS really wants you to know that the preferred strategy is going to be soft to hards or medium to hards. So, if you didn't know that, now you do. On board here with Mattey as they come around here. Mattey going to be the final driver to form up the grid here. As you see, he goes into his grid spot. So now we have the drivers formed up, and we are going to be watching here for an absolutely chaotic start. So, everything's set up for 27 laps of action here in Split 1 of this FRL Round 7 halfway point of the season, getting ready underway. 5 red lights, and we are going to be underway here for Split 1. Żelazny getting away extremely well. You can see Ignas not getting away so well at the moment. Noda having a bad takeoff there. Ignas around him. JohnMeister around him. 3 wide coming through. JohnMeister is going to be spun there in the first sector, and JohnMeister is going to drop all the way to the back. So carnage already there from the front midfield. As we come around, though, drivers starting to settle up there. Ignas and Tazo having a great battle in P3, and it looks like Ignas is going to lose out there. Ignas spinning and dropping back out of the first sector. So as we go through, still big battles going around there. You can see back in the midfield, somebody else going off track. I believe that was Mattey who absolutely got knocked out there. Jack and typowy having a great battle here, as typowy is defending for his life as they come through. typowy getting loose out into the gravel, and that may spell problems there for him as Jack is right on his rear wing now. Jack is going to have a dive there around the outside that turns into the inside. Jack's around. You can see Mattey right there around typowy as well, trying to have another peek as they go through. They come around here. typowy trying to have another attack on Mattey as Mattey is trying to have an attack on Jack. So here in the midfield, things really heating up, and then back in the back, things are heating up as well. So strong battles already from split 1, a different tactic than we saw from split 2. Split 2 opting to be really relaxed there early on. As we see though, split 1 is not holding punches at the moment, and if you're a driver like Jack, you're going to be very thankful for that. Jack and Fryderyk are going to be the next big battle to watch here, but as we go through, Noda and Żelazny very close together, not really leaving a lot to be worried about at the moment. Noda not going to let Żelazny get a run and get away. 1 DRS zone. AWS, stop telling us the pit stop strategy, as we already know it. Soft to hards, medium to hards, but the pit stop strategy doesn't matter because we know we're going to have at least 1 safety car, so throw your strategy out the window. Anyways, back to the racing here. Noda trying to chase down 0.8 of a second. FISHU, though, half a second back on Bax. Bax 3-second gap currently from the front 2, so the front 2 really getting the opportunity to stretch their legs and run away here. Dormati and Ignas both into the pits at the moment, going on to fresh sets of soft compound tires, probably due to damage there from that lap 1 carnage. As we go through here, FISHU trying to chase down Bax, and Fryderyk, Jack, Mattey, typowy, MBuciek, Pefixian, all very, very close gaps, battling it out here, trying to keep things together as they go through. Noda 7/10 back now on Żelazny. Żelazny opening up just a little bit on the gap. Noda possibly trying to conserve his tires a little bit. As we come around here, FISHU 3/10 back. Is FISHU going to be able to chase down Bax? He goes a little bit wide there on the track, probably taking a track limits warning, trying to get a little bit better of a run, and that doesn't pay off in any way, shape, or form, if you ask me. As they come around middle sector. Going around here, he has a good run on Bax at the moment, not close enough though, as we come around into the front stretch. Oh, and FISHU almost hitting the curb on the side. I don't know if he wasn't paying attention there or what happened. Bax, though, in front of him. Very thankful for that mistake from FISHU. FISHU going very wide there in the Ferrari around. I can't tell if he's just having traction issues or what's happening, but he's not having a great time at the moment, losing out a bit more. 7/10 is the gap there. Let's jump on board with Jack, though, who's closed down that 3 seconds down to just half a second on Fryderyk. And you can see back here, from back here, he's got a great angle on this FISHU Bax battle as well. Jack coming around at the moment. Great speed on those medium compound tires. So as we come around here, lap 3 of 27, lots of close battles already. You can see while the front 2 have spread out a little bit, and it looks like that is going to be Bax who has ran off track there through the double left-hander in the middle sector. So unfortunately for Bax, that is going to cost him way down into P13 now, possibly P14. So he is back going here. Jack, 0.3 of a second here off of Fryderyk. He is going to have DRS here coming around this lap, but Fryderyk should have DRS as well on FISHU. Fryderyk gets a little bit loose there coming through the final corner, and with DRS open, is Jack going to be able to make the plunge here to get this pass done, or is Fryderyk going to get around FISHU here as the gap is now down to 0.2? So Jack very close, but Fryderyk and FISHU very close as well. So as we come around here, again, very, very close, it's calm racing, but it's very calculated racing so far as these drivers come around through here. FISHU up into P3, Noda P2, Żelazny and P1, all on soft tires. Jack and P5 here on the mediums, chasing down Fryderyk and FISHU. He's got a run on Fryderyk here, and he thought about having it. He has the peak on the inside, and Fryderyk gives up the space here. So Jack up to P3. FISHU spins out, though. So FISHU dropping way back. And unfortunately, as we saw in split 2, one little mistake can be all it costs to lose so many positions and so much time here in this race. VSC has been deployed here on lap 4. Looking here at lap times, you can see very, very close and consistent lap times between the field, except for Żelazny with a 1:32.2, which Żelazny may be very happy here about this safety car at the moment, or about the VSC at the moment, because it's going to let him calm down and kind of relax a little bit, but not for long here as we're back underway with racing. And Jack has 9 seconds he needs to make up, but Fryderyk has the run on the inside here, and that pass is done, thank you very much, before you even see the first corner. Now Mattey has a run, MBuciek has a run. Jack is back around Fryderyk though. So Jack back up into P3. Great battle between these two drivers. As we come around here, Jack trying to stretch the gap out on Fryderyk and doing a really good job at it. Fryderyk trying to stretch a gap on Mattey and not able to do as good of a job at it. So let's go around here. Mattey looks like he has a run on Fryderyk, but not close enough to make a pass happen. And then Mattey also under pressure from MBuciek in the back. We'll jump on board here with Mattey, as Mattey has a run on Fryderyk here in the middle sector. He had to check up a little bit, but he's going to dive on the inside. Fryderyk a little bit swervy, a little bit crazy there. Fryderyk shutting the door. MBuciek switching back, though. He's going to hold Fryderyk to the outside. Fryderyk right there side by side. Fryderyk a little bit better of a run through the corner. MBuciek a good run. Mattey trying to have this run here on Fryderyk and get the pass done. Fryderyk opting to defend the inside here. Mattey's going to go around the outside. They're going to dive in. Mattey goes a little bit wide there, and Fryderyk side by side again, dragging through. And Mattey is going to hold the door there. Outside turns to the inside. Fryderyk and Mattey have contact, and that means Mattey is spun out there. Unfortunate for Mattey there in that occasion. Mattey's going to join back up into P11. So very unfortunate to see there the contact between the drivers, but that does also free up some different things there to occur as Fryderyk also drops back and goes into the pits there as he lost his wing. That's going to open up MBuciek to try to have a bit of a run. Jack has 11 seconds he needs to make up on Noda here. And then Pefixian is right on the rear wing of MBuciek now. Pefixian in the Haas trying to have a run through. Currently P5, P4. This is a strong battle here as Pefixian has a good run. He has a little bit of a good run there on MBuciek, but not close enough for the pass at the moment. But a great run here with the help of Slipstream coming through the middle sector. And VSC has been deployed. I'm not sure for what the VSC has been deployed, but VSC has been deployed here, which for Pefixian, he's going to be a little upset because he had a great run coming through there. Żelazny and Noda are going to possibly have a good battle here. Neither one of them opting to pit here under the VFC. BartheZ taking a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Looking through the field here, it looks like Pefixian is taking advantage of the VSC to try to close up the gap here. If he can catch everything right when the VSC ends, he may be able to have a good run. FISHU lap 7 here, and he is on a fresh set of hard, so he is going to be running the long game, 20 laps on his hard compound tires. And VSC is now ended, and if you're Pefixian, you caught that at a perfect time. Pefixian has a good run here on MBuciek, so he is going to try to take advantage here and get the pass done as they come up the hill here in the first sector with the left, right. And it looks like Pefixian has a bit better of a run here than MBuciek, which means he is going to come around here and possibly have this pass done through this middle sector as he cuts the corner a little bit there, coming around. Going to get the pass done here on the inside. He cannot. He's not close enough. Gap half a second through the middle sector now. So he is going to have a run as they come around, but is that run going to be enough as he comes through? No, it's not at the moment. He is closing the gap slowly but surely, though, so that's going to be one to watch as they come down the main straight. Looking back here through the rest of the field, all the gaps are pretty calm. Everybody's pretty relaxed. There's a bit of a patience opening up through the field and a bit of space opening up between people here, which is allowing everyone to breathe and relax. A little bit of error here and there from drivers, but overall everyone's relaxing and not having huge issues at the moment. We'll see if Pefixian can get the pass done here on MBuciek as they come down the main straightaway. And it looks like MBuciek's actually going to dive into the pits and come off of his medium tires. Interesting decision to come off the medium tires so early. Perhaps he's going to opt for the medium to hard long game as he comes through, and that is going to release Pefixian into P4 here. The gap's still very, very wide, and we'll see what tires MBuciek decides to go on here as he comes through. It looks like he's still in the pits, It looks like he was serving a drive-through penalty, actually, so unfortunately for him, costing him some significant positions and dropping him all the way back into P12 at that moment. We'll jump aboard here with DEBE in P9, who's under some immense pressure from JohnMeister, currently in P10. Ferrari driver having a great season so far, JohnMeister is. As we look here, P5, a DNS, a DNF, a P8, and then a DNF. So, by a great season, I mean a Ferrari great season, of course. Looking to get here higher up in the points. As you can see, JohnMeister does have a bit of a run here on DEBE. He's very, very close. Only a tenth of a second off of the rear wing here. He's thinking about having a dive on the inside. Thought better of it, though. Decided not to. So as they come through here, DEBE getting a little wide, getting a little loose there. Got very hairy for a second. JohnMeister gets around him there on that back straightaway. And then they're both going to be under pressure from SenTeX as they come through the final sectors here. So we'll keep our eyes on this to see what happens. SenTeX, it looks like having a dive around the inside. Not close enough in order to make that stick, though. So for JohnMeister, he's running away. DEBE still under pressure from SenTeX, though. As SenTeX comes around. Oh, what happened here? DEBE is having the dive on the inside around JohnMeister, and SenTeX is going to dive it up the inside as well on JohnMeister. JohnMeister leaves the space. Drivers are still side by side. He's still there at the rear, and he is by. So SenTeX now up into P10. JohnMeister losing out 2 places into P11 there in one straightaway. DRS helping, of course. DEBE getting really wide there, which opens up the opportunity for SenTeX to get past. So SenTeX now up into P9. After a bit of an error there from DEBE coming around. And as we are a third of the way through the race currently, only a few drivers have pit. Most drivers still out on the tires they started on. Coming around here, lap 10, looking at the gaps. Tazo has about a half-second gap on backs. We'll keep our eyes on that. But meanwhile, SenTeX, DEBE, and JohnMeister still pressuring each other very hard here for the last of the points-paying places. And it looks like at the moment, SenTeX may be a little bit protected there as DEBE, the gap is 1.2 seconds, but JohnMeister diving into the pits, which is going to give DEBE a little bit of breathing room here. Gap down to 0.6 as they come through the main straight. Of course, with so many turns, this is a downforce track, so if you run just a little bit less downforce, you can have a good run. VSC has been deployed now. I'm not for sure for what. Again, third or fourth VSC in this race. Gives all the drivers a chance to read. JohnMeister on a fresh set of medium tires. Drivers under VSC, especially on these 9-lap-old softs, gives them a little bit of room to breathe, a little bit of room to relax, and try to conserve those soft tires to go a little bit farther in the race. As we come around here, it looks like Tazo and Bax may have a good battle about to form here. As we jump on board here, Tazo 0.4 of a second off of Bax and slowly gaining here, 3.5, 0.3. So he is going to have a good, if he can have a good run through the final chicane here, he may have a good run going the first. And by good run, I mean Bax has a horrible run, dives into the pits and pulls Tazo into the pits with him there. I don't think that was planned in any way, shape, or form, but Bax getting loose and diving into the pits, which is going to unfortunately mean Tazo is in. And I'm sure that was not something that Tazo planned on doing. So I wonder if that will ruin the Mercedes strategy that they had going there at the moment. Bax opting onto the hard compound tires to run to the end of the race. 17 laps to go there. Tazo on soft, so Tazo is going to have to commit to another pit stop. And I'm sure that was not a planned early stop, unfortunately, for Tazo. That is so unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. So as we come around here, all of the gaps through the front of the field are starting to soften up. Bax on a fresh set of hard compound tires under pressure from Fryderyk and trying to apply a little bit of pressure here on JohnMeister. Lap 12 here, and things are sort of calming down, but they're not. As Noda dives into the pits, that's going to open up Jack into P2. Żelazny has a 17-second lead at the moment on Jack, and that gap is not closing in any way, shape, or form. Żelazny just kind of setting his legs up, taking a bit of a yawn, and just relaxing here with the run. Pefixian 3.5 seconds to gap. SenTeX has 10 seconds to make up on Noda. So this race really calming down in the front of the field. It's really the mid and backfield that's really showing good battles here as Gamer 2021 dives into the pits on 10-lap-old mediums, 11-lap-old mediums, and we'll see what tire Gamer opts to go on. As Bax gets past Mattey, and Mattey spins there, a big spin for Mattey there in the third sector, or in the first sector, just now coming out of the pit. So I don't know if maybe that was the result of cold tires or if there was contact there, but unfortunately for Mattey, that is going to be detrimental. At least his tires are warmed up, I guess. Jumping around here, Noda, 0.2 of a second the gap currently on Pefixian, 1/10 of a second the gap. He's right there. They're on the inside. They bump wheels, and that is going to be Noda's race over. Had a great run coming through on Pefixian, a little bit of a wheel touch, and that cost Noda his run there. And safety car is now going to be deployed for the first time here in the run. And if you're Żelazny, that is not at all what you wanted. That is not at all what you're going to want if you're Żelazny. If you're Jack, you're going to be ecstatic right now because that means Jack is in the lead. And if you're Jack, you're going to be extremely happy with that. As that means Jack can try to have a good battle here with Żelazny with 15 laps to go, if I can do my math right. So unfortunate for Noda, who is having such a good run. This may also open up Jack to jump up further in the driver's standings. So, lap 13 here of 27, and lots of fun things already happening. That's been really interesting to watch here. It's Noto and Pefixian with a really good battle. I'm glad that this safety car came up because it's going to shake up a lot of things. Jack not pitting on 12 lap all mediums. I know the hards can make it 25-ish laps. And Jack now diving into the pits. Żelazny diving in right behind him, though, who was on a fresh set of mediums. So I'm not sure what Żelazny is deciding to do here. Żelazny going back on the softs there. So I guess Żelazny is going to opt, because he knows the softs will run through. So it's interesting that this is going to be the decision that he makes. But it puts both those drivers back near the back of the grid, which is good for a great battle for these last few laps, as both of them are opting onto soft tires, which means for two of the faster drivers in the league, they're going to have equal tire stands through the rest. But Pefixian on mediums can run to the end, so Pefixian is opening up on a great strategy at the moment. Pefixian has yet to finish a race here in FRL this season, between 3 did not starts and 3 DNFs, having some wheel issues at the start of the season, unable to race while he was waiting on replacement parts, and then 3 DNFs in a row for him. Unfortunately, costing him big time, but at the moment it means that he is in a great position right now to secure a good run and potentially a win here. As the drivers come around here, it looks like safety car is in this lap, which means Pefixian is going to have control of the field. And we are going to be back underway here for racing as Pefixian takes off and backs down there in P4, having a great battle at the moment with JohnMeister. Things getting really defensive there, and backs having to watch out for SenTeX there. SenTeX up into P4 now as they go through, but the battle's not done yet as they come around here, and SenTeX is going to give Bax the big squeeze, and they're both going to spin as they hit wheels. So unfortunate for them. I could not tell whose fault that was, but that is going to cost both of them some big positions. Crazy that one little mistake like that can cost you so much as you run through. So that is going to open things back up. JohnMeister has 2 seconds he has to make up already. Pefixian put the hammer down and going. Going through there, you can see DEBE and Tazo having a strong battle there in P5. And it looks like for the moment Tazo is going to have the advantage, but DEBE switching it back potentially? No, DEBE backing out of it, it appears. Jack down in P9. Great battles going on so far. Jack in P9 trying to have a run on Ignas there in P8. As Jack is trying to fight his way back up and get away from Żelazny. His teammate Dormati is behind him, holding up Żelazny as fast as possible. A little bit of a wiggle there from Ignas, which is going to open the door up for Jack to get by. Jack, of course, has the slipstream of Fryderyk in front of him as well. So looking here side by side, Jack has a little bit better of a run on Ignas. Ignas not backing out of it, though. Ignas trying as hard as he can to keep up, and there it is. Fryderyk now in front of him. And Jack is on the charge for the podium again. Yellow flag, sector 1. It looks like that is going to be for Gamer, who is spun there in the first corner. But back underway, no safety car needed at the moment. Fryderyk backing out here from Jack. And it looks like Frederic's going to lose out a position on Ignas as well, potentially, as they come around. Did Fryderyk lose the position? Yes, Fryderyk lost the position. And Fryderyk DNFing, and it looks like Ignas spinning there and DNFing as well. That is absolutely going to have to be a safety car. Lap 16 to 27, and we have another safety car out. If you're Pefixian, you're going to be a little upset and a little happy at the same time. Pefixian had such a good gap going there, and then it's kind of just closed up. But Pefixian going into the pits, I'm guessing he's going to go onto a set of softs in order to finish this race. JohnMeister into the pits right behind him, so that's going to free up typowy to take the lead here. Is Jack going to pit? Jack is not going to pit, so where's Jack going to end up on the 2-lap-old softs? Jack coming around here. Jack's going to be up in a P5 with DEBE right in front of him. And as we form up under safety car at the moment, this is kind of crazy to watch. This has been so fun here because it was so just relaxed, and now we've had just some carnage in the past few laps. Safety car restarts always make for a great time. So, fire strategy. MBuciek's on hards, Tazo, DEBE, Jack on softs. Thankfully for Jack, he's got his teammate Mattey behind him, so then Żelazny is there. His teammate can put on a little bit of a defensive masterclass potentially, which may free up Jack to get a bit more of a run and get going. 10 laps to go here. The softs, especially with this safety car, should be able to make it with no issues, I would think. Look here at stats really quick. If you're typowy, you're going to be really happy with where you're at. Because, of course, typowy, reserve driver. Just kind of looking here and trying to get my thoughts around who is in a good position. Pefixian, JohnMeister, Bax, and Gamer are all on fresh tires, but everybody in front of them isn't on that old of a tire set, so tire deg isn't going to make that much of a difference, especially with only 9 laps to go here. So I think at the moment the strategy needs to be just pedal to the metal and go all or nothing, risk it for the chocolate-covered biscuit. That's a saying that I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard. I'm trying to make a prediction for who's going to do what here. I think MBuciek's in a bad position on the hards. I think typowy on the mediums is probably okay. Tazo, DEBE, Jack, they're all in good positions. BartheZ Or who was that just spun? Dormati spun there, which if you're Jack, you're going to be very upset. His teammate just pulled a George Russell there. So, what does that mean for Jack? That means for Jack that Żelazny is right on his tail. Bax gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags there. Looking at penalties, 8 seconds to Bax now, 5 seconds to JohnMeister, 3-second penalty to typowy, and 3 seconds to SenTeX. So those drivers are going to have to really push, open up gaps, and try to move ahead if they want to try to get further up in the standings. They haven't called safety car in this lap, but I would imagine safety car is going to be in this lap as the grid's all formed up, and it's kind of just a matter of following at the moment here. That gorgeous Aston Martin safety car. Safety car is called in this lap now by the race directors, which means typowy is going to take control of the field here. And we'll see when typowy decides to go here. Buciek right on his tail on hard tires. Did Buciek warm his tires up enough? Did typowy warm his tires up enough? Typowy backing way up here. Typowy trying to get underway and getting a little bit loose, and that is going to open up Buciek to have a good run here in the first corner. Is Buciek going to be able to get the pass done? He's going to look left. Typowy is going to try to shut the door. Buciek has him there side by side. Buciek has the run on the outside. Typowy is going to slide a little bit up there and shut the door, and that's going to open up Tazo to get a run there, and then that's going to open up DEBE to have a run here. And for Buciek, who had such a good run there, he is just dropping down the grid. Fortunately for typowy, that little bit of a screw up might have saved him there, as typowy and DEBE have a bit of a contact there, and then Buciek spinning, dropping to the rear. Tazo opens up, and then if you're typowy, you're going to be a little bit upset with yourself because he's down to P3 now, DEBE into P2, Jack and P4 right on the rear wing here. Typowy Jack hitting the curbs, typowy spinning, and that's going to knock Jack out, and that is going to be the end of the race for Jack. Oh, that is unfortunate. A bit of an error there, and that is going to cost Jack this race. Having such a good run, typowy getting a little loose there, and Jack just being on the losing end of that. That is going to be Jack's race over. Tazo, DEBE, and Żelazny now your top three. And no safety car called, surprisingly. As Tazo is going to take off here. 1.5 second gap between Tazo and DEBE. Żelazny has a 1.5 second gap he needs to make up on DEBE. As DEBE is getting a little bit of a run here, it looks like. typowy, 1.5 seconds the gap there on Żelazny. So, great gap opening up between the top four. Midfield battle, though, looking very, very strong here. Is Pefixian trying to have a run on Mattey, who's trying to have a run on typowy at the moment. Mattey has a bit of that run on typowy here, outside to inside, and Pefixian gets a little bit hot on the brakes. And Pefixian about going to the rear end of Mattey, but able to catch it there last second. Pefixian inside of Mattey. He's going to back out of it here through the S's. Mattey has a great run here at the moment on typowy, it looks like. So Mattey trying to go around a little bit of scary steering there. The curbs are really dangerous. You can see Mattey hits the grass a little bit, hits the curbs, and Mattey's going to spin out there. Both. Mattey very unfortunately losing out there. Trying to push to catch up there on typowy and losing out big time. If you're typowy, you're a little bit happy about that. typowy, of course, now going to be under pressure by Pefixian. Pefixian on a fresh set of soft tires, and he's got JohnMeister behind him on a fresh set of soft tires as well. So they're going to be looking to just fly right here past typowy to try to chase down the front of the grid as they can here. Żelazny with 0.6 of a second here coming down the main stretch. Żelazny fastest lap, so Żelazny is pushing really hard. Pefixian looking really hard as well. Pefixian's going to dive down the inside on typowy here. Is he going to have the path done? He said, "Thank you very much. I will take P4 for myself." So Pefixian now up into P4. JohnMeister putting pressure on typowy there for the 5th place position. JohnMeister trying to have a bit of a look here as they are coming through the end of the S's. And JohnMeister has a good run here. Żelazny, we're going to jump back up front here as Żelazny, 0.2 of a second the gap currently on DEBE. Can he get the run done? He gets the run done on DEBE. DEBE has nothing to respond with it either, so Żelazny up into second place at the moment. So Mercedes now 1-2. Will they hold this or will they invert? As we know, Żelazny has a huge points gap. 51-point gap there in the Drivers' Championship. And in Constructors, they have a 130-point gap. So will they hold on to this or will they go ahead and invert? As we see, typowy is under pressure from Mattey, who is also pressuring JohnMeister. So it's not over yet. As typowy gets a poor run there, and Mattey's going to dive around the left-hand side and have DRS here. So he is right past him. typowy has DRS as well, though. Doesn't have Slipstream to help him, so he backs out of it there. Mattey up into P6, typowy P7. BartheZ, of course, only half a second back on this as well, watching, waiting on a mistake, so BartheZ can take advantage. We see the drivers pushing as hard as they can, and it's causing a little bit of forced errors here and there, which unfortunately for some of these drivers has cost them their race. But everything's starting to calm down. The gaps are starting to open back up. typowy to BartheZ now is the close battle here, as BartheZ is coming around. 0.3 of a second the gap. We'll see what BartheZ can respond with to get this run going. It looks like at the moment BartheZ just holding the gap. BartheZ getting loose there. You can see he had to back out of it. He got real nervous there. Almost spinning coming out of the corner. And that is going to cost BartheZ a run here at the moment. We'll jump up here in the front. Żelazny and Tazo holding on their half-second gaps. Here at the front of the field, the Mercedes holding position so far, not opting to invert here with 5 laps to go. Mattey with the fastest lap so far on a 1:30. Of course, he's back in P13, so it's going to pay nothing for him. But fastest lap is a fastest lap. So as we go through here, Tazo, Żelazny holding position, holding firm at the moment. All the gaps have opened up here, and I think the drivers are just having a mindset at the moment of just make it to the end. Just make it to the end. No big silly mistakes. Just make it to the end. BartheZ not closing the gap any down on typowy, so still holding at P7 and P8 for another lap so far. Mercedes holding firm here, even though the gap has closed a little bit. Gap now 0.3. Is this going to be the moment where they decide to switch places? 0.2 now. And it doesn't look like there's any sort of a rush for them to move around, so I think they're going to just hold where they are at the moment. Mercedes has dominated all season. BartheZ is finally getting past typowy. P7 for BartheZ, who now needs to make up 5.5 seconds on Mattey. But you have typowy and Gamer, the 2 Alfa Romeos, right behind the Williams of BartheZ, so that is going to be a good battle to watch here into the closing stages. as the drivers are coming around here with just under 3 laps to go. 2.5 now at the moment. As we look here, it's been a very, very relaxed race with a few moments of absolute carnage. Red Bull on the losing stick again, P12 and P13, so no points coming to either of those drivers. Unless something crazy were to happen at the moment. Looking here, Tazo and Żelazny up front, inverting positions at the... So that is going to free up Żelazny to run away. And for Tazo, that is playing the team game there. He is the Valtteri Bottas to Żelazny's Lewis Hamilton, inverting the position, inverting the cars. Typowy here, half a second the gap, trying to have a run. We've got a yellow flag in the middle sector. And it looks like that is because Pefixian has spun out there in the S's. So unfortunately for Pefixian, he is going to fall back a little bit there, and he is now going to be under pressure by BartheZ and Typowy through these final few laps. Going around here, SenTeX is now DNF'd and left the session. Unfortunately for SenTeX, that is all she wrote for his race. As we look here at Typowy and BartheZ very, very close by, trying to have a bit of a run. Two laps to go and not a lot of crazy things happening at the moment. And Pefixian DNFing there in the final corner. I'm not sure how he did that, but he is out. So as we go through here, lap 26 to 27, not a lot of crazy things happening. Things starting to calm down here. Typowy and Gamer trying to have a bit of a run there, and Bax back here trying to have a run on the two Alfa Romeos. So very, very close battles here. Not a lot of crazy things to happen, though, at this point in time. Only 11 drivers left, and we started with 18. So as it finishes out here, there's not going to be much craziness to happen. Tazo has the gap down to 0.3 of a second on his teammate Żelazny. Will Mercedes let them race, or are they going to be told to hold position? You can see overtake is open there on Tazo, so they could be pushing for fastest laps, or they could just be relaxing and just kind of driving at the moment. Gap now up to 0.8 of a second, so not sure what Mercedes' plan is there. Bax 0.3 of a second here off of Gamer, so he's in a good position to have a run here if he can stay close enough through this final sector. Going on to the main straight. Final lap is now started there for Żelazny and Tazo. So that is going to mean for them, it's going to be a very slow, calculated run here to the final checkered flag. No forced mistakes, no errors, just smooth driving from them as Bax is trying to have his final run here on Gamer at the moment, and he's not close enough. So Gamer running away here at the moment as we go through these final few laps. Looking through here, Żelazny, Tazo, DEBE, JohnMeister. DEBE up on the podium, a name we haven't seen on the podium a lot before. DEBE, a name we haven't seen on the podium at all this season. His highest finish is P5, and he's done that twice. At the moment, he's looking like he's going to be on the run to hit P3. Mercedes dominating this race, though, as Mercedes tends to do. You see Bax is pushing as hard as he possibly can to try to catch up to Gamer and Typowy to chase down a few more points for AlphaTauri. Not close enough, though, at the moment. So it looks like things are really settling down. JohnMeister within half a second here of DEBE, but JohnMeister does, of course, have a penalty, so even if he gets this pass done, it does not make a difference. as they run through the final couple of corners here. Coming around, Żelazny and Tazo are going to come across the line. And for Żelazny, it is another dominating race from him. And that is going to mean he is going to win this Japanese Grand Prix here. Tazo comes across. DEBE comes across as well. DEBE on the podium. Mattey up into P4, JohnMeister in P5, BartheZ coming around the final chicane here. After some great battles from him, he is going to be up into P6. Typowy P7, Gamer P8. They are going to invert, though, due to penalties on Typowy. Backs into P9. MBuciek jumping up into P9, though. Backs P10. Mattey P11. What a great race coming out from these drivers. Congratulations, Mercedes. Unfortunately for Red Bull, another horrible, painful, heartbreaking race. As a Red Bull fan, that hurts me a lot. Mattey coming around the final corner here to finish this race up, and he is going to come around, and that is going to end everything here in the Japanese Grand Prix. Mercedes dominating again. I'm curious to see, because the gap's already 130 point in constructors, I'm curious to see if this is them settling the constructors and wrapping it up. Because at the moment, the only drivers that are battling for drivers, it's a 51-point gap between Żelazny and Tazo, and that gap's going to open up even more now. So if Żelazny can keep up this sort of racing, it should only be a couple more races before he secures Drivers' Championship with no issues. Him and his teammate absolutely dominating this season. Mercedes, a team that usually has no luck in FRL, and for some reason here in Season 4, they have turned it around and absolutely dominated. Looking through, DEBE up on the podium, Mattey in P4, JohnMeister P5, BartheZ 6, Gamer, Typowy, MBuciek, Backs, Mattey, the drivers that all finished. Everyone else DNFing throughout. So, we said at the start of Split 2 that Japan was going to be a race of heartbreak and a race of luck and a race of consistency and a race of staying off the curbs, and all of those things continue to prove true in Split 1. Congratulations to your podium drivers. This is going to be where we end it here in race week 7 here in Japan. Join us in next week where we are going to Austria to run possibly my favorite track ever. Meanwhile, this is Brad. I'm signing off. I'll see you all 7 p.m. Central European Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time next week, 1 o'clock I'll see y'all same time next week. Check out the Twitch calendar. Twitch calendar is going to tell you. Check out our Discord, our Twitter, our Facebook, all of our socials below. Join us. We've got plenty of spots open. We'd love to have you. But this is where we're going to sign off this week, and we'll see ya. And it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers.